Still so many questions tonight about how legendary actor Gene Hackman died. To answer the question of how and why would help to know when. And tonight we have breaking news that could provide an important clue. Investigators with the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department have been on the case since the actor's body, along with that of his wife and one of their German shepherds, was discovered in their New Mexico home Wednesday evening. The Santa Fe County Sheriff said today that data from one of Hackman's devices is shedding some new light on the case. And it wasn't his smartphone. It was the 95-year-old's pacemaker installed in his heart that showed his last event was recorded 9 days before the couple was found dead, suggesting that was when Hackman died. Now, this information comes from the pathologist, who has not yet confirmed a cause of death, but a preliminary autopsy does show there was no external trauma to either his body or that of his wife, Betsy Arakawa. And testing on the couple has ruled out another possible cause of death that has been theorized.
She revealed to me the following information. Both individuals tested negative for carbon monoxide. An initial interrogation was conducted of Mr. Hackman's pacemaker. This revealed that his last event was recorded on February 17th, 2025.
Officials have deemed the circumstances of the deaths suspicious enough to warrant a thorough investigation. Detectives have removed several items from the couple's home that include a green cellular phone or some sort of cellular device, as well as 3 types of medications: a thyroid drug, a medication used to treat high blood pressure or chest pain, and Tylenol. Also seized by the sheriff's deputies were records from MyQuest, a medical diagnostic service, and a 2025 monthly planner. To help break all this information down, we're joined now by retired FBI agent and attorney Bobby Chacon. Bobby, what do you make of what we learned from this press conference that apparently Hackman's pacemaker shows his last movement to be on February 17th, and that both he and his wife tested negative for carbon monoxide?
Well, Elizabeth, it looks like they're trying to rule out certain things, like obviously the carbon monoxide now can be ruled out. And so you start with a bunch of things that could happen. You start ruling things out and you start focusing on the things that are remaining. I would want to know what type of pacemaker you had. My grandmother, for instance, had a pacemaker that only kicked on when her heart rate went too low, and it just jumped in to restart her heart. So was this a pacemaker that kind of only went in when he was having a heart attack type of thing? So, you know, they're going to marry that data. So that's a crucial date now. Now we have February 17th is a crucial date. When they look at his cell phone records, has all of his cell phone activity stopped around that date? You know, does he normally text with friends, or does he search the internet things on his phone, and all of a sudden all of his cell phone data stops on February 17th? You know, you have to marry that now with the one crucial date we have now. But it's a huge piece of evidence now, that date. And now we can start working towards that date to see if there's any other activity post that date. They'll look at his planner, that monthly planner, to see if he missed any meetings after the 17th of February.
They also collected 2 green cell phones. And by the way, the bottles of medication that they collected, you know, they're over the counter. They're pretty mild. It's nothing like, no barbiturates, no opioids, nothing like that. So it seems to rule out any sort of an overdose, right?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, and it's unusual because you would think somebody at 95 years old took more medications than that. I mean, my mom has a pill box that she takes morning and night that have a lot of medications in it, and she's only 85. So I think you would think that a man 95 would have had more medications around the house, and if they would have taken all of them, not just focusing on these 3, but they may have been the ones that were scattered on the shelf or the countertop where his wife's body was found. That's what I'm thinking, because there had to have been more medications, even over-the-counter stuff, in that house.
Yeah, but still, if it was some sort of a heart event that Gene Hackman suffered and died from on February 17th, it still doesn't explain the death of his wife, who was 30 years younger, and the family German shepherd, who was in a crate, apparently, and unable to get outside the home. The 2 other German shepherds were alive and well, but they were running around outside.
That's right. And well, it's exceedingly rare to have 2 natural cause deaths in the same house at the same time, which is apparently what might have happened here. Or if he was falling and she was trying to help him from falling, or trying to help him to get up, and then had her own cardiac event and then went to try to take her own pills, that could be an explanation. But the pills that we find scattered don't apparently seem to be heart medication. So that could be, if he's falling down and she tries to help him up, and then she has her own event because of the trauma of what's happening to her husband, then that could happen. But you have to understand how exceedingly rare two natural cause deaths are in the same house around the same time.
And the family dog. And by the way, she's 30 years younger. I don't know that, she would have a...
It's very odd. And
yeah.
the dog, if the dog tells me it was unexpected. They wouldn't have left the dog in there knowing, they were going to die. So the dog probably was in there as a matter of course, and maybe they let them out for dinner or whatever, that particular dog. And so it tells me that this was kind of a surprise to them. The dog was probably a unfortunate consequence of them not being able to release that dog, and likely died of dehydration.
So if they have ruled out carbon monoxide, is there anything else? I mean, the gas company, the fire department has come and said there doesn't seem to be a gas leak either. Is there any other environmental cause that would kill two people and a dog like this?
Not that I'm aware of, and those are the two main ones. The gas leak, which, by the way, the fire department went in first because, before the crime scene team could operate in there, they had to rule out that kind of thing.
Right.
So right away, they said no gas leak, no carbon monoxide. So I don't know of any other environmental contaminant that would have caused anything else would have been obvious. Any poisons, any things like that they would have contacted with, and like if they were both eating the same food that was contaminated or something like that would have been more obvious. But any other kind of environmental contaminant would be obvious, other than the two that you mentioned.
I know you're not a medical examiner; you're an FBI agent, but. Is this investigation made more difficult by the fact that apparently 9 days might have passed between the time that at least one of these people died and they were discovered? I mean, both in the state of the bodies, but also evidence that might have been, altered in some way during that time.
Sure. And look, I ran the FBI forensic dive team for 19 years, so I'm used to handling dead bodies in different conditions. And so, yes, I think that it's made much more difficult. For example, we take fingerprints from corpses a lot of times to rule out like fingerprints in the houses if there's a third party that's not supposed to be there or is unidentified. So all of that stuff is going to be more difficult. Tissue examination is made more difficult by the decomposition of the body.
Yeah, it's sort of what I had thought, but I wanted your expertise in confirming that. Bobby Chacon, always great to have you on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.